How's it going tonight, John?
It is going well tonight. How are you, Eric?
I'm a little tired. It's been a long weekend for me, but it's good.
It has been a long weekend. It's been a long couple weeks. Yeah, you and I overlapped in the office for basically half a day last week on Friday.
Yeah, pretty much. I went camping Friday night, headed home a little earlier than anticipated Saturday, packed up, headed out with daughter number one out to take her back to school, and then flew home, got her moved in Monday morning, flew home late Monday night, and then we're recording on a Tuesday this week because of other things going on.
That's right.
This morning was up and back.
Back at it.
Running out on the same road I just was on.
Back at it. Back at it.
Yeah.
So did you get to Boise on Saturday?
Yep. So Saturday we drove to Boise. We got there. So we didn't leave till early afternoon because we were camping in the morning out at the coast. Mm-hmm. So we got to Boise late that night, got up in the morning and went the rest of the way to Grandma's house. And then Monday morning drove down, pick up her keys, and got her all moved in. So success.
And then hop a plane back. That's awesome. Well, we've got some friends from work visiting the site this week, and they came in early on Saturday. So my Sunday was going out to the coast hiking. So we actually went to a trail called Cape Lookout, which is outside of Tillamook. I don't know if you've ever been there.
That's a gorgeous hike. I have done that hike.
You have it. You have.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is my third time doing it, but it's been a few years, and I didn't remember. I remembered it being really, really flat, and it wasn't too bad. But there was more ups and downs than I remember. But it was nice. It was beautiful. My younger boy came with us with a friend of his, although they pretty much just ran ahead. It was like, fine, you guys go ahead. What are you're not going to get lost. See you at the end.
Just stop at the cliff.
Yeah. Well, there was that. I did have a momentary of a minute of, please, don't do anything dumb.
Don't do anything teenagery.
Yeah. But that was lovely. That was a lovely day, and we timed it just perfectly, really, because by the time we were maybe 3/4 of the way out, the marine layer was burning off, and by the time we got out to the end, it was nice blue skies, like 65 degrees, perfect for a hike.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah,
I was very jealous. It was a beautiful day.
Would have been nice if you could have come too. So that was nice, and then we went to the Tillamook Creamery on the way back too, which is always fun. And this is the first time I'd been there since they did the big remodel a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I go back and forth between they made it too fancy and it's really nice.
They pretty much covered that whole western parking lot.
Yeah, it is really nice, but
it's all about, hey, get me some ice cream.
That's right.
Which is fine. Yeah.
The Disneyland line for ice cream.
It wasn't too terribly bad, but the unfortunate thing is on Sunday, the lines aren't actually running. And that's really cool to watch. I wish we could have seen that. All right. Well, anyway, it's fun. If you ever get a chance, dear listener, go visit the Tillamook Cheese Factory or Tillamook Creamery out in Tillamook. It's very cool.
Yeah. And wherever you're at, check your grocery store. You might actually have Tillamook cheese available.
Okay. All right. Well, we should, let's get to some follow-up.
All right. So my follow-up is I've mentioned numerous times, I'm a fan of the YubiKey and the FIDO Alliance and the two-factor authentication and bits and pieces with that. I have every account online that will support the little FIDO YubiKey for a second factor. I set that up. Well, the YubiKey just announced a dual YubiKey that has a USB-C port on one end and a Lightning port, like what goes in your iPhone, on the other end. I mean, it looks a little odd, but soon, not yet, but coming soon, you will be able to use your YubiKey on your phone or iPad in addition to your Mac, which I think will be cool.
That would be super cool. All right.
And so since that's really more kind of like an ad and we're not being paid by anybody, that's all I want to say about that.
Well, when is it going to, they announced it, but when is it going to be out? And when will it be supported?
So I'm sure it's coming.
All right, I'll make you a deal.
Well, it looks like it's already out.
Launched the YubiKey 5CI.
Looks like you can buy it.
Are you kidding me? Where can I buy it at?
Well, yeah, only YubiKey is the only place you can get it at. I don't know if the iPhone supports it yet. And there's different ways that it can support it as well, because there's what they are kind of is they mimic a keyboard when you plug them into your Mac, and when you tap them, they actually just spit out the set of characters that it generates from its little chip inside into whatever text field you're in the Chrome browser, for example. That's, I think, what it supports on the iPhone and iPad today, where in the future they can add new features. It's on my short list of things to pay attention to.
All right. Yeah, I can see it out here. It says it's $70, but
yes.
Oh, there it is. It is available for purchase at the YubiKey store.
Yep.
All right. I will make you a deal. I will probably pick one of those up in the next couple months. As soon as I find out some more info about actual iOS 13 support, I think I'm ready to dip my toe in the water. That would be great.
Join the party.
Okay. Sounds like I'm just about late, so that'll be just about on time for me. Okay, I had one little bit of follow up too, because we talked about the EV certs for the last couple of weeks a little bit,
right? And
this was a link that is about Google wanting to reduce the lifespan of certificates to a year. So down from, is it 2.5 years, basically? It says SSL Cert Max lifespan to go from 825 to 397 days. That seems reasonable. But at least the brief comments on here, and the link that I have up here is actually to a ZDNet article, but I also saw a thread, or at least a couple posts by Scott Helm about this too.
Yep.
But I don't know if you noticed that too. Maybe it was a link from here. Oh, okay. Anyway, sounds like DigiCert in particular is opposed to it and is kind of fighting it, and it would create more costs and have to.
You would think a company that sells certificates would be in favor of something that increases people buying stuff,
renewing more frequently.
Yeah, or maybe not. Maybe I don't understand the economics of certificates.
I don't know. I don't understand, especially in a world where most certificates are being given out these days by Let's Encrypt
for free.
And what's the default? 90 days.
90 days. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I believe that's still true.
I think this is a tempest in a teapot or perhaps it's doth protest too much for DigiCert.
Well, and it's only for websites, not for other types of certificates. So
sure,
right,
sure, yes, but anyway, I feel like that seems like a reasonable thing with the main proposals, I guess, or the main rationale is that in the first place, cert revocations is kind of broken. So when certificates need to be revoked, if for some reason they're like the certificate revocation lists or the online certificate revocation, what is it, OCSP, online certificate something protocol. Mm-hmm. Anyway, if those aren't configured or working, you could have a certificate that really is bad and they've tried to revoke it, but you don't have the revocation. Anyway, in this case, those certificates would be valid for less time. And then the second thing is that if standards change, or as standards change, and they want to move certificates a little bit faster, that kind of increases the amount of time or the speed at which they could introduce new options and standards without having to sort of drag along this long tail of still valid certificates from, 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So seems it's easy enough these days to rotate a certificate. So I don't see any reason why that isn't a great thing to do. Anyway, check out the article, and I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah. So hop on to my topic of this week.
Sounds good. What you got for me?
So my topic is, did you ever hear of the company called MoviePass?
Oh yes.
So
I follow a guy, Tren Griffin, who I think was in finance up at Microsoft, or maybe still is. He tweets a lot about some of that stuff, but he's kind of he's a finance guy, and he had lots of data about MoviePass from early on. Very, very skeptical human being.
Yeah, so the concept behind MoviePass was you paid a flat monthly fee, and then you could go see as many movies as you wanted every month.
For a movie buff.
Yeah, and I think it was $10 a month, which is you see one movie a month and you're breaking even.
Right.
And so this is not something that you would sign up for if you weren't a movie person anyways.
Right.
But if you're a movie person, that's an awesome deal. And there was a breach. A security researcher, found an open set of log files out on the internet that had customer data in it, including the card number. And how the MoviePass worked, because my brother actually subscribed. He lives down in LA, and he was a big movie fan. He would see 3, 4, 5 movies a month. So he loved this.
Of course.
But how it worked...
straight from the VCs into your pocket.
Pretty much. You would show up at the movie theater, go into the app, say, I want to see this movie, and then they would preload a credit card, a MoviePass card that they gave you with the cost of the ticket. So then you would hand the movie chain, the theater, basically a credit card. It just worked just like a MasterCard. With a balance, and they would slide it so the movie theater chain did not have to know anything about this MoviePass transaction. So it was great for ease of use, right? You just tap on the app, they would transfer that balance right to your MasterCard. So it wasn't like this MasterCard could be used anywhere else because there was never any balance on it except for when you ran the movie. Well, in the log files were all the card numbers, basically MasterCard card numbers.
Oh, of the MoviePass MasterCards.
Of the MoviePass MasterCard. So not the end user's credit card, but that credit card. However, they also found some log records that had the customer's personal credit card number, because when you signed up for the service, you had to pay your monthly fee somehow.
Sure.
Well, if you signed up with a credit card and it had billing information, names, addresses, all that kind of information. So that also happened. And so I texted this article down to my brother, and I said, hey, because I remember this is a year or so ago, I was down in LA and we went to a movie, and he was trying to tell me about how cool MoviePass was. And I'm
you're like, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know how they're going to make money, but the streets are littered with scooters, so what do I know about making money? But so he was explaining this to me, and he was showing me how it worked, and how he went there, prayed the thing. And so I texted this off to him and said, hey, did you hear that this would happen? And he said, yeah, I quit them a long time ago, because a couple months after he had signed up and was showing me all about it, they had closed his account. And he called them up and said, hey, why did my account get closed? And they couldn't explain why his account got closed. But and this was after probably the guy you follow tweeted and everybody else realized, hey, there's no way the average person, this is something that the average person can go, will I spend $10 a month on a movie? No, I'm not going to sign up. Versus, I know I'm going to spend at least $10 a month on a movie. I'm going to sign up.
Right.
So they had figured out that how they were originally pricing it didn't work. So it was a little he didn't say this. I'm interpreting this, it was kind of bait and switch, because he called him up and said, hey, how come you closed my account? I didn't close my account. I want to keep paying for it. they offered to have him open a new account under their new pricing model. Clearly they had realized they were losing money hand over fist. But then he decided, I don't need to join with your new pricing model because it's not a value to me anymore.
Right.
I'm not saving money. So anyways, that's my article this week. If you were involved with MoviePass or used MoviePass at all, or still do, they went from, I think, 3 million users down to a couple 100,000 after all this is gone with their new pricing model. Anyways, you might want to check your credit card balance.
That's the sort of thing that, the end of their runway was coming up super duper fast. They did a couple of like reverse splits too, where they went from, like every 10 shares become one kind of thing. And yeah, they crashed. I didn't actually, I thought they had crashed totally. I haven't followed them, or I haven't heard anything about them for a while, but
no.
That's the sort of thing that you really need. You need some good data, and you need to know that, your average user is going to go to the movies, 2.27 times per month at an average cost of, $13. So your break-even point is, going to be $30.
Well, and the movie theaters, the movie chains are now doing it, because I do enjoy movies. I probably see 1 or 2 movies a month. Probably one on average if I were to average it out, or a couple. So I have ads showing up in my email box because I joined the little loyalty programs because you get the free popcorn and things like that when you go to a movie. And for one of them, it's $18 a month for all the movies you want to watch, all consuming. Then another one is, I think, $15 a month for 2 movies, and then only ones that have been in the theater for at least a month. They have a couple other stipulations. So you mentioned that's the thing that you need data for. These are the guys who would have the data.
Right.
And now you're looking at that going, okay, that's where their real break even is, where they think they can really get either make money or break even and just keep you coming to their theater as opposed to going to another theater and buying the popcorn and the $10 bag of Skittles. So
well, I'm trying to think of what you would call somebody like your brother that's going to go to 5 movies a month in like a free to play game. You'd call them a whale. So maybe in this case they're an inverse whale. I don't know.
Minnow?
What is it? Yeah, but they're taking more of the data, so it's like the big suck. I don't know.
What is it? What is it? Krill?
Krill. That's what a whale eats. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways,
but yeah, all right.
So
That's
there you go.
That's good. That's
yet
good.
another data leak. I think there were actually a couple I saw fly by this week. A supermarket chain was another one that got breached, but
yeah,
I'll pick the movie one because I like movies and it's a good one. All right, what do you got, John?
My topic, I this is kind of a weird topic for me because I didn't actually see an article or a video. I did a quick 30 seconds worth of Googling right before we started recording to see if I saw something better posted, but it's probably, I bet you that something posted to YouTube at this point. But anyway, my topic this week is a tweet stream of Alex Stamos' talk at USENIX Security Conference 2019 from sometime this week. So Alex,
he's the Facebook security guy.
Yes, right? Exactly. So, he was kind of at the heart of the storm, had a bunch of opinions, and has been, I feel like he's kind of taken a real high road for, everything that's gone down with Facebook for the last couple of years. But, he's I don't know him well, obviously, or I don't know him at all, but I have read and I've seen a number of his things. I think I follow him on Twitter, and he's generally seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders for security. So I feel like keep listening. So this is a live tweet. So a person on Twitter live tweeting from his talk. And the thing that I liked about this was the analogy to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this is the Stamos' hierarchy of the actual bad stuff that happens online to real people. Because, it really, one of the things that's very easy to do is to get lost in the details of something, or lost down in a corner case. And, you can spend your whole life worrying about a corner case. There are many people that do. That's perfectly valid, perfectly reasonable. But, sometimes it is important to kind of, take a step back and figure out, what's the macro problem, or what's the macro situation that we find ourselves in, and what's going on there. And so I like this, and I liked his analogy here, and just the basics. So the hierarchy, I think of this as a pyramid. I really wish I'd been able to see this talk. So if I can find a YouTube link, I will watch it when I can. Because I'm just going from reading some of the things in the tweet stream here. But so the actual bad stuff that happens online to real people, the vast majority is abuse. So people using products correctly, but harmfully, to hurt other people. So you can think of this as some of the cesspool that is Twitter all the time, Facebook ads, Facebook ad targeting. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that's like,
I think of social media bullying.
Social media
platforms for bullying. That's what
Yep.
You're using the product as it's designed to share information, but you do it in a way that...
Stalkerware. Absolutely. There's all sorts of... So, okay, the vast majority. So things that impact real people, abuse. The rest is InfoSec, or info security. So breaking confidentiality, integrity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that you would appreciate that. Most of that is password issues. So if you can close the password problem, or work on the password, and which is why passwords come up, at least in our world, over and over and over and over and over again, because it's such a critical thing. And in our work world, we don't really deal with abuse. I mean, that's not something. I guess maybe there are some sort of ancillary or products that are kind of working on that. But I do think of our work as we're working at the tip of the spear, so to speak, with some of these things. Because here's the third pyramid, or the third subdivision. When it comes to machines being broken into, most of that harm comes from patching issues, right?
Lack of patching.
Or lack thereof, right. Equifax was caused by not patching. And his comment there, or at least her comment on his comment, is that it's not that technically interesting because, for the vast majority of people, the vast majority of the time, if they were, up to date on patches, it wouldn't be an issue. And more of the world is essentially moving to auto patch, or continuous updating, and I feel like the trend there is pretty good. The next chunk is simple config errors, like leaving an S3 bucket open to the public, right? Things like that. Or I guess in this case, you'd probably put the bucket of things like the breach. I didn't actually read the article for the breach that you mentioned earlier, but that was probably a Mongo or Elasticsearch exposed to the internet, like 98% of the other things in the world, where, misconfigured databases or, exposed to the internet. Very, very unfortunately common. So that's fourth. And, I'd be very curious to see what visuals he used for this. I'm sure that
I'm visualizing a piece of pie.
A piece of pie.
Well, I'm visualizing a pie, and then it's doing chunks out of the pie.
like a
pie chart.
A pie chart, but with the first chunk of the pie being 70%, 80%.
Yeah,
and then
some large number,
smaller
and an increasingly
smaller chunks.
Logarithmically smaller chunks.
Exactly. Oh, fancy you, logarithmically smaller. So then a fifth chunk, I guess it would be, application vulnerabilities that are relatively common. So things like cross-site scripting or cross-site request forgery or other things like that. Then next up, he says, is USENIX stuff, which I assume that means like system vulnerabilities. The top pixel is 0 days. So, things that are taken advantage of before they're made known to the vendor for patching. And then a tiny little subpixel of that are side channel attacks. So things like the Spectre meltdown,
right,
etc. So anyway, I thought that this, like I said, there's not that much you can read. You can certainly read the rest of this thread here, but I really liked the sort of mental model in general of sort of where do you sit on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs or the Stamos hierarchy of actual bad stuff, and as you climb it and kind of get the controls under your belt, how you doing for the vast majority of things. Right.
So if you want to start a startup or create a startup, maybe focus on the first bucket there, because that's probably, like you say, 80 or 70 or 80% of your pie there.
Yeah. Maybe.
You're not sure.
The problem is, at least as a technical person, that's people behaving like people, and people are messy things. So that's the problem, right?
So your startup idea is to replace people with robots.
Okay, I think that's the start of a plot of some sci-fi movies, perhaps. Yeah. There we go. All right. I think that's probably enough about that. What about something fun this week? What do you got for me?
All right. So my something fun, sticking with my recent space theme.
Oh, okay.
I stumbled across this one from Adam Savage on Twitter, the Mythbusters guy.
I like him.
So
Don't try this.
He tweeted about a video, which I thought was really cool because it gives a different perspective. It's a time-lapse video of the Milky Way. And normally when you see time-lapse videos of space, it's the Earth is fixed and stationary and space moves across your visual view, right?
Okay.
Well, this video fixes the Milky Way off in space, and then Earth rotates underneath the video. So, the center is the Milky Way, and then over the time-lapse period, you see the Earth move, Anyways, I'm probably doing a really bad job of explaining it, but you should watch the video and then go see some of the guy. He has different videos about time-lapse, and this video is actually a year old, but I had never seen it before, and I thought it was actually really cool. And part of me is like, why hadn't I ever thought of this before, or thought to view something from space from this perspective? Because we always fix Earth is the fixed point, when that's really not the case.
Right.
You watching the video?
I am watching the video. Sorry if I'm being quiet. I'm totally watching the video. Trying to figure out, did he just expose a huge part, or was he actually trying to move the camera lens? This is kind of freaky.
According to the article here that we'll link that has the video in it, it tells the camera and the lens they used, but he used an equatorial tracking mount over a period of 3 hours. So you can buy software and mounts that actually rotate the sky, so you can take a fixed point in the sky and follow Saturn or something, so you can do long exposures of planets, and it'll rotate the camera slightly so that you can, so it doesn't give you the star lines, it gives you the actual colors. And this one was just a different perspective that I had never seen before. I thought was cool.
That's very cool. Okay. Yes. Okay. That was a cool little video. All right. My something fun is...
You're going biology, I see.
I don't know why I've chosen so many fun biology things, because I know so little about biology, but I saw this and I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. So this is a article about researchers trying to track the genesis of HIV. And so this was because HIV was officially discovered in something like 81, 82. Sorry, I think it said in here. Oh, it says HIV was identified only in the 80s. After a mysterious syndrome began affecting men in the United States, because of course we're U.S. centric. But that's not where it came from. It came long before and was mutating slowly. So there's a comment here that says, in 1966, a 38-year-old man visited a hospital in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo. His name, symptoms, and everything about him beyond his age and gender have been lost to history, but a piece of one of his lymph nodes was collected and preserved. By analyzing it, a team of researchers discovered or have shown that the man was infected by HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. He wouldn't have known it, and neither would his doctors. HIV was formally discovered 17 years later. So this is basically they went back through old samples in hospitals or labs from Africa, or this was Republic, or what did it say? They analyzed 1,600 tissue samples from the University of Kinshasa and found just one with traces of HIV. And after sitting in a drawer at room temperature in Kinshasa for 50 years with fixers and stuff like that, most of the RNA is gone. But they spent 5 years. So they had 1,600 tissue samples, found one that had traces of HIV, and then spent 5 years pulling every piece of RNA they could from it to basically try and track back a little bit about the mutation or evolution of the virus itself, because viruses evolve and change, and there had been models for how and where HIV had evolved, but without actually having points in time that they can definitively say, well, this is what it looked like at this point. It's conjecture, right? So having real data samples, especially older ones like this, give them specific points that they can then use to better estimate how and when it was originated. So this article goes through a bunch of data about that. The other comment I pulled out of here was that the team estimated the virus first arose sometime between 1896 and 1905, a little earlier than what others have calculated, but within the right ballpark. So anyway, I thought this was a cool article that had a bunch of info about how they kind of go back to figure out how to trace the history of viruses.
Very cool.
It's cool.
I will have to read it. I have not read it.
This one actually has data. My actual topic this week had no article and no other real data, but this one has lots of data. It's a good article.
All right.
It's a good article. All right.
Call it a night.
I think that's a wrap.
Have a good night, John.
Have a good night. Have a good week. I'll talk to you next week. Bye, Eric.
Bye.